Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to take you on a trip to a country that many people think is just jungle, monkeys, and carnival. But the truth is very different. Forget the snakes. The real danger in this jungle is something you cannot see, and that is just the beginning of the story. Brazil, the fifth largest country in the world, the only country in South America that speaks Portuguese. But why? Why do they speak Portuguese when all the other countries around them speak Spanish? The answer is a simple mistake in history. A ship that got lost. Just an accident. But before we go to that story, let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought about why this country is called Brazil? What does it mean? Brazil is actually the name of a tree. Yes, the Brazil tree. A red tree that was so valuable for the Portuguese that they named a whole country after it. The only country in the world named after a tree. And this tree almost disappeared. They used so much of it that there is almost nothing left. It is like what is happening to the Amazon rainforest now. But we will talk about that later. Now let's go back to that lost ship. The year 1500. Portugal is one of the most powerful countries in the world. They are in a race with Spain to find new lands. A sailor named Pedro Alvarez Cabral starts a trip with 13 ships to go to India. But a mistake in the way brings him to the coast of Brazil instead of India. He thinks this is just a small island with no importance. But then he understands what a treasure he has found. And this is how Portugal started a new empire in South America. But building this empire had a heavy cost. The cost was the lives of millions of people who were brought here from Africa in ships, slaves. Imagine this. You are taken from your home and your life. You get on a ship that smells like death. You travel for months in the dark. And when you arrive, they tell you that now you have to work on a farm, and the owner thinks you are a thing, not a person. This is the dark part of Brazil's history, the part that many people do not like to talk about. But the truth is that today's Brazil was built by those slaves. Brazilian culture, Brazilian music, Brazilian food, everything comes from that time. And maybe it is interesting for you to know that Brazil was the last country in the Americas to stop slavery. The year 1888. That is only 136 years ago. That means the great-grandparents of some Brazilians who are alive today were slaves. But Brazil is not only sadness, Brazil is joy. Look at the Rio Carnival. Millions of people dancing in the streets, live music, colorful clothes, energy that you cannot find anywhere else in the world. The whole country stops for 1 week so people can dance. Why? Because they know how to live. They know how to laugh from the bottom of their hearts. And this contrast between sadness and joy is what makes Brazil special. On one side, a history full of violence and colonization. On the other side, people who learn to smile even in the worst situations. Now let's talk about that thing you cannot see, the real danger in the Amazon jungle. They say the Amazon is the lungs of the earth. It makes 20% of the world's oxygen, but there is something even more strange. The Amazon makes its own rain. Yes. The forest has so many trees that it sends water into the sky and makes the clouds itself. If there is no forest, there is no rain. But this forest is being destroyed every day. A disaster as big as September 11th every single day. But no one talks about it because it is far away from us, because it is not in the news. But the truth is that every minute, many football fields of the forest disappear. For what? For animals to eat grass? For soy farms? For wood? And this means thousands of animal species disappear every year. It means the world's weather balance breaks. It means the rain that should fall in the Amazon does not fall anymore. And this is not just Brazil's problem. This is the whole world's problem. But let me tell you another story. A story you have probably never heard. The story of an emperor who fell in love. Pedro I, the first emperor of Brazil. He was the son of the king of Portugal, but he grew up in Brazil. He fell in love with this land. When Portugal wanted to make Brazil a colony again, he said no. He stayed and fought for Brazil's independence. But have you heard about his love story? He fell in love with a simple girl named Domitila, not a princess, not a rich woman, a normal girl from a poor family. This love was so strong that the emperor married her officially, while everyone said don't do it. And this woman later became the Queen of Brazil. Maybe this story tells us that in Brazil, even emperors were normal people. Maybe this is why Brazilians are so friendly, so close to each other, so easy to talk to strangers. There is an unwritten rule in Brazilian homes that if you are a tourist, you need to know. Never invite someone you just met to your home, but if they invite you to their home, say yes, because this means they accept you as one of them. And if you say no, maybe they will never trust you again. Brazil is full of these unwritten rules. For example, if a stranger on the street looks into your eyes and puts his hand in his pocket, know that you are being robbed. The rule there is if someone looks at you and wants to take your phone, you should give it, because you might lose your life. And this is another part of Brazil. Violence, inequality, poverty next to wealth, skyscrapers next to slums. These contrasts have made Brazil. Did you know that the largest Japanese community outside Japan lives in Brazil? More than 2 million people. How did an Eastern nation end up so far from home? In South America? The answer goes back to the 20th century, when Brazil needed workers and Japan needed land. An agreement between the two countries brought thousands of Japanese to Brazil. And today, the Liberdade neighborhood in São Paulo is the largest Japanese neighborhood outside Japan. Red lanterns, sushi restaurants, manga shops, a piece of Japan in the heart of Brazil. Now, a question. Why is the capital of Brazil called Brasilia? Why not Rio de Janeiro? Why not São Paulo? Because Brasilia is a planned city. In the 1950s, the president of Brazil decided to build a new capital in the middle of nowhere, to bring people to the center of the country, to spread development everywhere. And this city was built in just 4 years. 4 years! An engineering miracle. A city that looks like an airplane from above. Everything was designed before. The streets, the neighborhoods, the buildings. And today, Brasilia is one of the most modern cities in the world. But this is not all of Brazil's story. Brazil also has a boiling river. Yes, a river so hot that if you put your hand in, it burns. Its name is Chania Timpisca, in the heart of the Amazon. Scientists say this is a rare phenomenon in the world. Water gets hot from deep inside the earth and comes to the surface, and this river is sacred for the local people. They say the gods live there, and you might not believe it, but Brazil is a place where a famous conman named Arcade Paulo could build a whole city and make himself the mayor without anyone knowing who he really was. This story is so strange that if they made a movie about it, no one would believe it. But let me share another secret with you. Brazil has a snake island, Ilha da Queimada Grande. So many poisonous snakes that the government has made it illegal to go there. Every square meter has many snakes, and this island is just a few hours from São Paulo. Jungle, danger, beauty, all together. Maybe now you are thinking, what kind of place is this country? Full of contrasts, full of surprises, full of untold stories, and you are right. Brazil is the place that gave football to the world. Pelé, Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Neymar, all came from here. But football in Brazil is not just a sport, it is a religion, a way of life. When Brazil plays, the country stops, shops close, streets become empty, everyone is in front of the TV. And when Brazil loses, they mourn, like the 1950 World Cup final, when they lost to Uruguay at home. They were so sad that some people killed themselves. They say that day was the darkest day in Brazil's history. But Brazil knows how to make joy from sadness, knows how to learn from defeat, knows how to rise again. And today, Brazil is one of the economic powers of the world, one of the biggest food producers, one of the countries with the most biodiversity, a country that can teach the world how to live with nature, if it can learn to protect its own nature. Brazil's challenge today is this: how to grow without destroying its forests, how to become modern without losing its culture, how to bring wealth to all its people, without making the gap between rich and poor even bigger. And this challenge is not only for Brazil, it is for all of us. Because if the Amazon is destroyed, the air of the whole world changes. If Brazil cannot protect its resources, we all lose. So next time you hear the name Brazil, do not only think about carnival and football, think about the forest that is being destroyed, think about the river that boils, think about the people who smile through hard times. Think about a country that, with all its problems, still has a magic that you cannot find anywhere else in the world. If you liked this video, write Brazil in the comments and tell me which part of Brazil was most interesting for you. If you want to see the second part of this story, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. The next video is about a country that has the most active volcanoes in the world, a very hot place. Until the next video, Enjoy life, and remember, the world is a big place to discover.